Hi there, Warriors. And here we are again. 4 times in a row, Uruguay are defeated in the World Cup qualifiers. Another result, another performance where you think to yourself, what we've had in ages, in years, why are we seeing it fail again? Why do we see the same players again and again and again? Why do we see this? Why do we see a performance that does not resemble any quality or any fight to want to be there in the World Cup? Why do we see it again and again and again? Doesn't make sense, no, but it keeps happening. And it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, this performance today, we can talk about personal mistakes costing us. Okay, the first goal, a blunder by Muslera. Second goal, a corner kick, which Bolivia scored from. But I would not I would not put this down to personal mistakes because these personal mistakes come from players who are keep being played, while we all see that they are not fit, they are not good enough to represent Uruguay at this stage, at a stage where we want to qualify for the World Cup. And you know what? The worst place to be in as a fan, I think, is yeah, you can be angry. You can be angry at your team not doing good enough. You're not doing well enough. You can be disappointed about performances, about results. But the worst place to be is that you start watching a game and you actually know or expect things to happen. You know that certain things will happen, and it keeps happening. Certain mistakes, certain players keep being played while other players are at home or on the bench not getting played. These games of these things keep happening, and you know it's gonna happen because you know the man in charge is not being changed, will not change, and this is the guy who is responsible for how the team will play, who will play, and it's today. It's the same thing again. I mean, one small detail out of the game. One small detail which basically says everything about where Tabares is and how he is not even fit enough. How he's not good enough to manage an under 11 side. He's not good enough to do this. I mean, come on. He cannot. He couldn't help a blind person closing his eyes. He couldn't help this because he's totally clueless. He's gone. He's completely gone. He's completely gone, honestly gone. And one detail of this today, of the lineup today, which just says to me, okay, Tabares, maybe you've been a brilliant servant in the past, but you don't have one clue what you're on about. You have no one clue of who plays where, who plays when. So Torreira plays as a box to box, and Matias Vecino plays as a holding midfielder. It just it just doesn't make sense. One is a box to box, one is a holding midfielder, and you reverse them. Because how does this make sense? It just does not make sense, and I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. And Uruguay now, 4 straight defeats, 1 point out of 15 possible points, so 1 point out of 5 games. Seventh place in the qualifiers now, seventh place. Peru has overtaken us if they keep their lead against Venezuela. And we have 4 games left to play. And I always said, I even said it before the game, even though this manager is in charge, I still believe we will make the World Cup because we have a squad that is too good not to pick up the points. But at this moment, I'm not certain of anything. The one thing I'm certain of is that this manager shouldn't be anywhere near this team. And some players shouldn't be anywhere near this team. But you know what? I can make a big case. I can criticize Martin Cáceres. I can criticize Matias Vecino. I can criticize Fernando Muslera. I can criticize all these players. But doesn't make sense because they don't pick themselves. They don't pick themselves. They don't say they don't make a decision of that they are playing. It's the manager who makes the decision that they are playing. So the fact that they are playing and they're not performing well, okay, they can maybe do better, but in my opinion, they're not good enough to represent Uruguay on this level. So it's the manager and the coaching staff who is responsible for them not doing well enough because they are picking them, even though we can all see they are not good enough for this team. So this is just one thing. So I can keep blaming players, but it doesn't make sense because if you keep playing the certain players, keep playing the same players like Vecino, like Cáceres, who are not good enough, then there comes a point where it's no point in criticizing about the players. It's a point about criticizing about the manager who keeps picking them. And then if you go one step further, you can also complain about Tabares for what he's doing with his team, which has regressed, which has gotten worse over the last few years. Uruguay in 2018 at the World Cup were better than we are now. While a lot of players have come in, new players, promising players, but we have gotten worse. We are one of the worst teams in South America. Peru plays better football. Chile might not play good football, but they're a better team. Ecuador plays better football. Colombia plays better football. Argentina, Brazil. I mean, I think only Paraguay, Venezuela, but Bolivia today. Bolivia played not great football, but they know their strengths and they play to their strengths. So Uruguay is not even one of the best five teams in terms of the way we play. We in quality in the squad, yeah, sure, certainly we are one of the best teams. But in the way we are playing and the way we are set up tactically, we are one of the worst teams in South America. And if you see this, if you see continual failure of the manager, then we can criticize the manager, which I do, but we also have to criticize the board, the Uruguayan Football Association. How can you keep this man in a job? I mean, this is just totally ridiculous. And you know what? It's disrespect to the fans. Because some people say when you criticize the manager, like I sometimes do and like you probably do, it's disrespecting the manager. So you should have more respect for the manager for what he's done in his 15 years at the Uruguay national team. He's won the Copa America. He's revolutionized this with his team, the Complejo Celeste, the youth setup. So speaking bad about him is disrespect. But you know what I think is disrespect? To keep this man in charge, because the football we have seen in the last few years, certainly the last few games, that is disrespect to Uruguayan fans. That is disrespectful to the fans who want to see the team do well. Because when they see their players like Suarez, like Valverde, like Bentancur, like Cavani, like Atarascaeta, like all these players who are stars in their team in Europe or in South America, winning big games, winning big trophies, and they come to Uruguay to perform, and they cannot even get a normal performance against Paraguay and Venezuela before the Copa America. Then we are crashed out in the Copa America against Colombia. Then we suffer 4 straight defeats in the qualifiers. With a team like this, with the players like this, with a squad like this, that is not acceptable. And come on, that is not acceptable. And also this thought process of thinking, well, okay, you can sack TABÁREZ, but who are you going to put in? Who's the new manager? Who can make a change in this short time? Honestly, man, anybody of you over here can do a job similar to TABÁREZ. Don't tell me anything different. Because what do you see? What do you see in Uruguay's team today that resembles something, an ID, a style of play, an identity? You see nothing. You see nothing. And what do you see? You see players being played who do not deserve to be there. You have Cáceres playing left back in the second half. And Alfonso Espino, Lucas Olaza, Matias Oliveira, they are at home. Who are players that have been doing fantastically in Spain over the last few years. When they are at home. And Cáceres plays at left back. Damian Suarez is on the bench. While Martin Cáceres plays right back in the first half and Giovanni Gonzalez in the second half. Araujo, one of the most promising defenders in world football. He's not getting a chance whatsoever. Gorarian, who is a player who plays at height, who's used to play at altitude, like we did today. And he doesn't even get a minute, while Vecino plays, who has not played more than 200 or 300 minutes for Inter this season. This does not make sense. It's just totally ridiculous. It just fucking winds me up, and I'm sorry to swear, but it's you see a team you love and a team you want to play, you want to see play, not even play well, because you can accept a team playing badly or not having a good spell, but this has nothing to do with a bit of a bad spell or a bit of bad luck. This is to do with something that is so deep rooted in the Uruguay national team at this moment, and it will not be changed by this manager or by this coaching staff. So yeah. Before I'm going to have a breakdown, I will look at some comments. I'm sorry if I sorry. Okay, Nicolas Hernandez Vidal. And by the way, thank you for all being here. Let me know your comments about the game. I'm really interested to hear about your comments. Please like the video if you want, and please subscribe to the channel if you want. So yeah, I love you all, guys. Nicolas Hernandez Vidal says, I've been alive for 15 years. Been watching Uruguay since 2014. Never seen such a bad performance. Disgusting and disgraceful. Thank you, TABÁREZ, for all you've done. But get out now. I have no words. I mean, I cannot add anything to this. Because, and you know, the worst thing of it all is he says, I've never seen such a bad performance, and I can think of two or three, four, five performances straight come into my head that were maybe worse or the same level. I mean, that just tells the story, right? But he is completely right. Thank you, Tavares, for all you've done, but it's over. It's the gone. And like you said, the AUF, the Football Association of Uruguay, what are you doing here, man? What bunch of bottle jobs. Can't even make one decision right. I mean, honestly, get paid. They get paid 100 to $200 million, $200 per year, and they can't even make a normal decision. Seeing that the manager is totally out of his depth, incompetent, and he's keeping in a job. Okay. Ajay Gulzar says, I just want a post game where we aren't all irritated and angry, but that seems like a distant reality. Yeah, very true. It just, I mean, four consecutive defeats. Floor the Flower says, hello. Hello, man. Good to see you here. Or if you're a woman, hello. Also good. I'm assuming men because most of the people that follow the account or in this chat are men, but any woman here, let me know your opinion about the game. And yeah, Liam Dre says, dull and toothless football, disgraceful from Tabares. Yeah, I mean, honestly. Diego Vasquez says, I never thought I'd enjoy watching my home country, Canada, more than I enjoy watching Uruguay. It's come to this, man. It's come to this. I mean, and you know what? Something popped into my head right now, and there's not a lot going on here. I mean, but that there was a game in the build up game for Uruguay for the World Cup. I think it's against Uzbekistan, or it was for the Copa America. And a team like Uzbekistan, I'm pretty sure it's in Uzbekistan. But if it's another country from the same region, then if you know, please correct me. But they came to the Estadio Centenario and Uruguay won because well, we are many better players than Uzbekistan. But they actually played football, just like modern football, keeping the ball, having some link up, and against Uruguay, who were much stronger individually, but teams like this even could play better football against Uruguay, and that's the reality. And that was 2019, 2018, and this is 2021, and it's gotten even worse. Um, for Ajay Gulzar says, forget what it is like to celebrate the goal. Yeah, I mean Uruguay have not scored. Colombia no goal. Argentina no goal. Brazil one goal. The set piece, the free kick for Suarez. Argentina no goal, and Bolivia no goal. One goal in 5 games. 1 point in 5 games. I mean, if this is not sackable, then what is? What is sackable? When is there a turning point in terms of this is not acceptable anymore? Because there are a lot of people, especially Uruguayan mainstream media, they accept everything because Tabares is their hero, their god, and they don't want to cut ties with Tabares because they know they get information from the AOF, they get interviews, and this element to this information completely hijacks them and makes them not reliable and not objective on this what we are seeing, which is terrible, which is completely terrible. And media like this and fans who support Tabares like he is their grandfather or their father, this is the problem. And I'm not saying the fans are the problem, these fans that are doing this, but how it's just keeping him in a job, giving him some support. And I mean, my only concern is that Uruguay play well, Uruguay do well, and I'm not supporter of the manager. I'm supporter of Uruguay. So I don't care who the manager is. I care if Uruguay play well, if Uruguay get results. So if a manager keeps failing in his job to do this, I don't care if he's my father or if he's my brother. I don't care about this. I mean, comes a point where the things that I've achieved in the past are not sustain are not they are not, how do you say, they don't carry enough weight to keep him in a job. There comes a point where okay, you did what 10 years ago, but what we are seeing right now, that is the reality we are living. This is today and the last 4 games in the last year, the last 3 years, the last 4 Copa America exits. This is what we are living. This is what we are staring in the face. This is the reality of the Uruguay national football team, who are seventh in the World Cup qualifiers with 4 games to go. Who are 1 point ahead of Bolivia, and Peru, Colombia, Ecuador, Chile are all ahead of them. Are all ahead. This is the reality we're living. So, based on the reality we are living right now and what we have seen in the last years, there's only one conclusion: the Tavares should go. We should not be the manager anymore. And it should be done today, tonight. It should have been done 3 years ago. It might have been done 5 years ago. But if it doesn't happen tonight, when will it happen? When will it happen? Honestly, when? Because it doesn't get worse than this. And I thought it couldn't even get worse after last international break. But we are here again 1 month later, and it's gotten worse. So it's one decision to make, and I don't care who makes it. Who makes it, honestly. And these players, I understand their loyalty to the manager. A lot of players who have played under Tabárez since they were 20. So I understand their loyalty. But loyalty blinds people. Loyalty is a disease sometimes, because it completely blinds you from the reality and from from what you are seeing and from the problems we are living. So I understand they will not go in public say, okay, Tabárez should go. No, but honestly, this gotta stop, and I don't know who instigates it. I don't care who initiates it, but this has to stop, because this can't happen. This can't go on anymore. It can't go on. Okay, Nicolas Hernandez Vidal says, what do you think are our chances of qualifying? My guess is that maybe we'll get the playoffs, even AUF can't defend Tabárez after this. You know what? The only thing that plays in our favor is that we have 4 games, which are against direct rivals. And well, we have a stronger squad, just like we have a stronger squad than Bolivia, but there are still a lot of chances to qualify. So it's not over, but it should be over for Tavares. But I think I've made this clear. Mike Laria says we will not qualify. Yeah, it could really happen. Tavares out now, he says, and Cáceres cannot play anymore. No, Cáceres cannot play anymore. That's true, right? I mean, who in their right mind can even think this is not this is just who in their right mind can think that he can play anymore? Who in their right mind can think that Damian Suarez should not play ahead of him? I mean, I'm just struggling to believe people who actually believe this. I mean, I'm not someone who knows this so much about football, but I love football and I watch it a lot, and I can see when a player is good enough or not. And it's not like it's a little bit between it, it's not like he is just his level is here and the national team is here. No, his the national team is here and his level is there. And you should not be a genius to spot this. I mean, that's not hard, right? I mean, maybe I'm talking crap right here, and it could really be the case, but I don't believe this is the truth. By the way, everybody who's here, thank you a lot for being here. 18 people, which is amazing. I think this is the most ever. And if you want to like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel, please do this. It will be the only positive coming from tonight, to reach 700 subscribers on the channel. So if you can do this, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot to everybody of you. Nicolas Andrade says, if Tabárez doesn't get sacked in 24 hours, I don't know what to do with myself. No. But you know what? I could see this going on and on and on. So I understand you feeling completely, but I'm not confident that anything will change. Um, Agile Guzar says they gave the excuse that the possible new coach would come after a 2-game loss streak, which wouldn't be a good thing according to them. Wonder what they think about 4. No, that's a really good point. And I saw that you said that you made a Twitter account just to talk about what is happening right now. And I understand your feeling that, I mean, you have this feeling, you see the game of a team you love, and you see that so many things are going wrong, and you have a feeling you want to express this anger, this disappointment, and yeah, I understand this completely. And talking about your comment, I never really I never really bought this idea, this ideology that, okay, we've lost 2 straight games, so you know what, we are gonna keep Tabares because if we pick a new manager, he comes in at a bad moment. He comes in at a bad moment, and they were all talking about. I remember reading this article by Ovachon that listed 5 reasons why Tabares and the players and the coaching staff realized they were wrong and they should change things. And you know what? This is just PR, PR spin. They want to keep feeding positive stories in the media to get us, the fans, a little bit of positivity. But deep down, I already knew nothing is going to change because we have been seeing this for years. It's not like this 4-1 against Brazil and this 3-0 against Argentina was a shock. No, this has been going on. The same performances has been going on for years, and it should not. So it was going on for years. So I was not confident that anything would change, and nothing has changed because the performance against Argentina on Friday, Argentina scored. They sat back. They were okay. They did not take initiative. They didn't need to. They were leading. They are already comfortable in the lead or in the second place. They were facing Brazil today. So in a few days after the Uruguay game, they were comfortable. So this performance of great courage, like the media was painting it, was just a load of bullshit. I mean, come on. We wanted to score. We wanted to get something done. We played out of desperation. Did you see against Argentina any style of play, any identity, anything that you could say, okay, this is sustainable. This is something we can build on? No. And today we saw it again. We saw again a hopeless performance. And I remember 50 minutes in, 60 minutes in, we were, for the exception of Augusto Alvarez Martinez, we had 10 players basically 30 meters from our goal. So deep. We were sitting so deep and we were in fighting trouble. And every time we got the ball, we tried to transition. No, we didn't try to transition. Cáceres, Piqueres, Godin, Jimenez, Facchino, they were basically hoofing the ball up the pitch. And Augusto Alvarez Martinez needed to do something with it. He was playing against 4 defenders. He cannot do anything with this. You cannot expect anything from this boy or from Facundo Torres when you play in a setup like we did. So now, like Ajay Gulzar says, we are now 4 consecutive defeats. So do what the AOF think now a manager should come in. So after 2 defeats that they thought, well, it's a bad moment to bring in a new manager. And now we are 4 defeats on the bounce, so consecutive. So in their logic, a new manager should not happen now as well. But obviously they have to. I mean, if they're not sacking TABÁREZ tonight, and if they're not appointing a new manager tomorrow or in this week, I mean, when is it going to happen? Okay. Jason Knight says, why is Godin still our starting centre-back? You know what? I have had a lot of criticism for Godin in his last two years. But this international break, I cannot say a lot about him to criticize him. And I also, at this moment, I don't want to really criticize the players because for me, it's more than this. It's TABÁREZ who's keep picking them. And the focus should be on TABÁREZ today because it's over. It's over. It's done. I mean, there's no turning back from this. Okay. Jelon says, Muslera gifted the World Cup in 2018. Well, like I said about Godin, I mean, we can all see the mistakes Muslera has been making regularly for Uruguay. Muslera has been a great servant for Uruguay in the past, but it's over as well. But he's not picking himself. The manager does, and it keeps picking him. And he makes now 3 mistakes which led to a goal in the last 4 games. That is just... I don't remember any moment where I saw a keeper do this. I don't remember it, to be honest. At this level, at the higher level, like the Premier League, La Liga, Champions League, international football, I don't remember this. It's just amazing. And the funny, or it's not funny because I could rather cry than laugh, to be honest, is that these are three very identical mistakes, which one is different. One is that the shot comes in and he parries it away to the opponent in the Brazil game, but Argentina game and now the Bolivia game, there was a cross. This was basically between the defender and the goalkeeper, and he did not deal with it against Argentina and now against Bolivia. He did not deal with it, and it cost us. Yeah. So yeah. Jason Knight says, "Where I'm glad we're not qualifying to the World Cup. If we're getting outplayed by the mighty Bolivia, imagine what a team like Germany would do to us. 8-0 easy. Well, we can still qualify for the World Cup. And although I'm completely sad, disappointed, I mean, everything that is bad you can describe, I'm this right now. We can still qualify, and I want us to qualify. Obviously, this is the only thing I want. And whether it be with TABÁREZ or another manager, I want us to qualify. This is the only thing I want. Because I cannot imagine a World Cup without Uruguay. Because for this 1 month, I don't know what they're going to do, man, honestly. So we can still qualify. But obviously, like you say, the way we are playing now, we might qualify. But do you honestly think we will do anything in the World Cup? And this is my whole point. So besides the games we are seeing now against Bolivia, against Brazil, against Uruguay, against Argentina, but also against Paraguay and Venezuela before the Copa America, both goalless draws. All these games, what does it say? What conclusion do you get from these games? My conclusion is that Uruguay's team with no identity, with no style of play, who've not progressed one bit, who have regressed since the World Cup of 2018, and who are getting worse. So my conclusion of that is that this is a team that even if we qualify for the World Cup, are we going to be anything serious or anything that will challenge for maybe the title or maybe go far in the tournament? No, we are not. And with the squad we have right now, we should. And that is my complete problem. That's my because you know what? There could be the case that Tabarez stays on, Uruguay will qualify, and all these Tabarez apologists, all these Tabarez fans will come out of the woods because I didn't see them tonight. I'm not sure what has happened with them. They will come out of the woods. They will come out of their beds. They will come from under their rocks, and they will say, "Oh, Tabarez, four consecutive qualifications for the World Cup." And I was thinking that, great man, great. We have one of the best squads in our history. It's an obligation to qualify. And now I have to ask you this question: do you think, with Tabarez, with the way we're playing, we're gonna challenge in a World Cup? And if the question is yes, I would say, okay, I have here five psychologists. You can see them because something's not going right here. Uh, so if they say yes, and if they say no, and I say to them, that is the complete problem because Uruguay have not progressed. Sorry, my alarm went off by the way, but Uruguay have not progressed. So that is a complete problem because even if we do qualify for the World Cup, and that is what I'm trying to say every time, even if we do qualify for the World Cup, and I'm speaking really fast now, I'm sorry, I'm trying to calm down, we are not going to do anything. And with this team, with this squad, and being Uruguay, a 4-time world champion, 15-time Copa America winner, that is the whole point. It's not good enough to just qualify for the World Cup and make up the numbers. We are not Honduras. We are not Australia. We are Uruguay. So Uruguay should be competitive, should be in a tournament to win it. And the problem is this team has not done this and will not do this with this manager. And that is the complete problem. So that is completely beside if we're going to qualify or not. That is just looking at the bigger picture. And that's just my opinion. But let me know if you agree with it and let me know anything. Basically, just give me a comment because I probably have to read. Because if I keep thinking about our current situation, I will just get more depressed and more depressed. Um, okay. Bolivia could go to the World Cup, says the Ducky Legends. And he's right. They're 1 point behind Uruguay. So they are they are in the same, well, 1 point lower, but basically the same position as we are in terms of qualifying for the World Cup. And what does that say? What does this say? Bolivia. All respect for them, and they deserve the win. Don't get me wrong. They deserve the win, absolutely. But Bolivia 1 point behind you after 14 games in the qualifiers. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. I says Uruguay needs an Argentinian coach. Well, I mean, I have to say this: there are a lot of good Argentinian coaches out there, so they will improve Uruguay. But to be honest, I believe Uruguay should have a Uruguayan coach, Uruguay manager. And in my opinion, there are a lot of good Uruguay managers out there. I mean, I've talked about this before. Guillermo Amada, I think he's the dream coach for Uruguay, but it will not happen probably. I'm going to have a sip of water. By the way, the shirt. I have to give it a look. Alfaro Recoba El Chino. I just thought put it on to give some positivity in this stream, but it's hard to find. Nicolas Andrade says, I really cannot think of another free agent coach at the moment. Anyone else? Well, you have Gus Poyet. I would not pick him, by the way. It's not just saying he's one of the free agents. But the thing is, for every Uruguay manager out there, their dream is to manage Uruguay. So Diego Aguirre is at Sao Paulo. Guillermo Amade is at Santos Laguna. If you want him, you can get him. You will pay some money, and this is another problem because the AOF don't want to pay any money because that's just the way they are. But if you want them, even if they're at the club, you can get them. That's just true. That's just the truth. You can get them just just down to your willingness and to your, if you want to do what is the best for Uruguay, and if the AOF were, if the AOF's intentions were to do what is the best for Uruguay, we would not be in this place because Tabas would have been gone long time ago. Esteban Erdoldi says we didn't even string two passes in the first half. We just kicked it up the field for no reason. Who gave Caceres to the green light to try and score from 40 feet away? Yeah, probably Tabares. Probably Tabares. I mean, this was just a joke as well. I think he tried it 2 or 3 times shooting from distance, and it's just unbelievable. I don't want, like I said, I don't want to go into players, but it's just unbelievable what is happening. Jason Knight says, I'm sure Akira would leave International in a heartbeat to coach the national team. Yeah, I agree. That's what I was saying, and I'm gonna have a quick look at Twitter to see if any developments is about Tabares. I don't think so, but you never know. Well, let me have a look later. I'm gonna look at your comments first. He says Aguirre would leave International in the heartbeats to coach the national team, and sure, this will be the case. Absolutely, I agree with you. Diego Pereiro says, "Did you catch the post-match press conference?" No, I will have a look at the comments soon. But you know what? These comments, these press conferences, I honestly, I have to get out of my anger, my frustration before I watch this, but because it's just so much bullshit. Honestly, I just, whenever I watch this or read these comments, I just think, somebody please ask a sensible question, a question that is close to what is close to the reality. And there was a journalist in the Portugal, after the Portugal game. Portugal were beaten by Serbia, and they are now in the playoffs of the World Cup. Portugal obviously have an absolutely fantastic squad, but they're playing terrible football. Terrible football. Bit similar to Uruguay, a great squad, and I think Portugal has even a better squad. But Uruguay also have a great squad, but they are playing football that is, it doesn't even have a description. It's just nothing. And this journalist says a really simple question: how can a team with so many talents play so little football? And the manager Fernando Santos did not even answer it. And probably the journalist will never even get into the press conference again because that's just the way it is. These managers, these clubs, these national football teams, they can't even take criticism. And whenever Tabares is even given a little bit of criticism, he just gets arrogant and talks about he's the only one who can comment, who can think about football. He's the one who invented football. It's very arrogant in this way. And that's just the way it is. And whenever somebody is critical, it just doesn't happen at all, to be honest. But he just shrinks it away. And that's the reality we are in. But oh my days, how would I love a journalist come out and say, Oscar Tabares, you have been there since 2006. You've done great things in the past. But how can you even justify you being the manager right now after 4 failures in the Copa America, after playing this football with one of the best squads in South America, after being seventh in the table after 14 qualifiers, with having the two best strikers South America has seen in recent history? How can you excuse this? How can you justify you still being the manager? Will he ever respond to this? Will it ever happen? No, of course it won't. But it's a question that hits to the reality, in my opinion. Okay. Um, Jason Knight says the worst thing is I'm not even surprised by the result. Did anyone else honestly expect a different result than what they saw today? No, that's the worst thing, and that's what I said before, like 20 minutes ago on the stream. And you are absolutely right. The thing is, we can have hope, and every time Uruguay play, I have hope because I want. And this is not hope based on something that is real, but it's based on something that you want to think. Because every time you see your team play, you want to see your team win. You want to see your team play well, and even though it's not realistic, you always keep this hope. But like you say, did anyone else expect a different result? Honestly, when you look really deep in yourself, you go through the hope. Then no, I didn't expect I mean, I didn't expect us to lose 3-0, but I never expected us to play well, and I probably expected us to lose points. And to do it in this manner, I'm not surprised. It's not. This is not a reaction of surprise. This is a reaction of just sadness, frustration of seeing things we see over and over again. Okay, T-Mess says, what do we do about our goalkeeper problem? Muslera has got to be done. Is Franco Israel ready? I mean, Franco Israel, we have to. That's the thing. Muslera is 35 years of age. He will be gone. He should be gone already. But if he's not gone now, then he will be gone in a year or 2 years. Franco Israel, maybe he will be a big keeper for Uruguay in the future. But you have to look at what is right now. Then you have Sergio Rochette, Martin Campagna, you have even Sebastian Vieira, Sebastian Sosa, you have Kevin Dawson. And I'm not saying these are fantastic goalkeepers, but these are goalkeepers that are better than Muslera at this moment. So that is true, and that's what we all see. But I'm sorry. But the thing is, and this is I come back to the manager. We can all see this and we can all think, okay, this is not working, we should make a change. But the point is that we can talk about this, but if we know and we know that the manager will not do this, what's the point about arguing about this? What is the point about arguing about bad performances from players? The focus should be on the manager and on the Uruguayan Football Association to make the right decision, which is get a new manager in. Because new manager, a manager that is competent, you cannot expect him to completely change the face and the style of play of Uruguay, even though we don't have a style of play. You completely change this in a month. But you know what you can expect to see normal decisions like picking up the best players, picking up picking the right team, the right players in the right position. These are just normal things you expect from a manager, a competent manager. But TABÁREZ is a person who's done a lot for Uruguay in the past. But you know what? He's also done a lot to destruct and to make a mockery of Uruguay and the Uruguay national team in the last few years. And that is also this also should be said. I mean, you can compare it with Arsene Wenger, although I think Arsene Wenger did never feel like TABÁREZ is doing right now. But you can look at Arsene Wenger. His first 8 years for Arsenal was great, winning leagues, invincibles, winning FA Cups, doing well, not winning, but going far in Europe. And then his years after that, they were not complete failure, but they were continual of mistakes, continuing failures in the Premier League, failures in Europe, and that's the same with TABÁREZ. First 5 years were fantastic for Uruguay after a really bad period in Uruguay's history, but the 10 years or the 8 years that followed is a failure, and nobody can ever paint it differently because it's a failure. The last 8 years of the Uruguay national team has been a failure. While we had Luis Suarez, who is arguably the best player of Uruguayan football history, for sure what I've seen. While we had Cavani, one of the best strikers in South American history. While we had Diego Godin, one of the best centre backs of the world in his last 10 years. So, yeah, I'm getting a really dry. Can't even speak anymore, honestly. Okay. This shit also happened in the World Cup against Saudi Arabia, where we didn't even bother to try to keep possession. Yeah, I remember this game. Yeah, Uruguay won 1-0, a goal by Suarez. But I remember Uruguay wasting time in the corner in the 80th minute or 88th minute. And you know what? When you're at the World Cup, you want to get results, but it was a little bit of a bad reflection. But at this moment, Uruguay winning a World Cup, and Uruguay were competitive. We're a team. And that's the problem for me. Uruguay are not a team right now, and they have gotten worse. So this game, like you say, in Saudi Arabia was a bad reflection, but what we are living right now is even worse. Okay. Nicolas Hernandez Vidal says, the media in Uruguay is spineless. I can't even trust Ovation anymore. Just read the match overview. No mention of TABÁREZ tactics, only about how the ball moves differently in the altitudes. Well, I'm going to read this after I get off this stream, obviously. But you are right. I mean, I remember reading the match ratings of Ovation, the referee, after the game against Argentina. And I saw Cáceres getting a 7 and a 6. And I thought, what game are they watching? I mean, Cáceres was terrible against Argentina. And he was terrible again today because he's a terrible player. He was once a good player for Uruguay, but not anymore. But these and Ovachon as well. They an article in the build up to Argentina where they talking about Uruguay have uh, recovered their courage, their fight, and like you say, nothing about tactics, nothing about Uruguay improving their way of playing, doing something differently. No, it's nothing about this. It's just a joke for journalists. And I'm not a journalist. I'm just someone who loves football. But I can understand. I can read a better article than read an Ovation or referee in the last few days and in the last few years, basically. And surely there are great journalists out there. Obviously there are. And that, you know what, the best journalists out there are the ones who are not working in mainstream media. I mean, Nauel Bull, I think you all know him, Nauel. Fantastic young journalist, big account on Twitter. I mean, honestly, you can rather watch or read his analysis or his few on games than any journalist working for Ovacion Referee. And the biggest joke of all journalists in Uruguay is Diego Munoz from ESPN Uruguay. I mean, honestly, how he's able to write on this podium in this page, I don't understand, man. He is just the worst of all, the worst of everybody I've ever read. And sorry, I don't want to be nasty or personal, but I just don't understand how you can be in this position, be a journalist, and a journalist is his job is to talk the truth, to be objective, to not being led by by basically protecting a manager or a team. You should be objective. You should give the view. You should give the reality to the fans. That is your job as a journalist, and he doesn't do that at all, and that is just unacceptable for me. But okay. Uh, okay. Nicolas Andrade says, "I'm sorry, but no matter what, I'm gonna keep my hopes up. We will qualify." I mean, this is great, and I'm with you. I'm also gonna keep my hopes up. I'm still hoping, praying, wishing with everything I have that Uruguay will qualify because that's all that matters to me. So I'm completely with you on that. So honestly, whatever the situation right now is, this is also my approach. I will always hope and keep hope for us to qualify, but just hope. It's nothing more than hope. Okay. Uh, thoughts thoughts on Fabian Coito says Superayo Oka. I don't know how to pronounce the name. I'm sorry. Well, just a Tabares 2.0. I don't want him in the national team. The best coach for Uruguay is Paulo Pesolano. So this is the one who was. I'm not saying this as something in against him, but he was sacked, right? He was managing in Mexico. I think Pachuca. I'm not sure the team. I'm sorry if I have the wrong team, but he has done a good job in Mexico, and he is a free agent as well. So there are, like I said, there are good managers out there, even if they are in their job or they're free agent. There are good managers out there. I don't know a lot about him. You know my opinion. I think Guillermo Amada is the best manager just available right now, or not available because he's in a job, but the best manager out there. Okay, update for everyone. Venezuela is losing 1-2 to Peru. 7 minutes left, and Venezuela just missed a penalty. You know what? We deserve it. We deserve it. Honestly, we deserve Peru to go ahead of. We deserve to be seventh, and that's the thing. We just don't deserve to make it to the World Cup. Obviously, I want us to qualify with all my heart, but we don't deserve it for the way we are playing and the way we have played for the last 14 games. So yeah. By the way, thanks for everybody being here once again. Please like the video. It will be absolutely crazy if we can get it up to 20 likes and 18 people watching, and I'm really grateful for this as well. Subscribe if you want as well, and you would really I would really appreciate it. Okay. Ajay Kulzar says, "No way. Tavares just said that he's not thinking about throwing in the towel. It is unreal how much control this man has over the national team. He really sees this as another rough patch." So I think you just heard. He probably said this in a press conference. This is why you probably are saying this. This is his mentality. Does he have any self criticism? The funny thing is, in the build up to the international break, the press conference before Argentina, he said to the media, "I have self criticism, even before anybody else is criticizing me." So And it's all nice and well for him to say that. He can say this, he can defend himself, but we all know it's just bullshit. It's just crap because if anybody has self criticism, he should be aware that he's not the right man for the job, and he hasn't been for a long time. Um, but like I say with the players, I mean you can criticize the players, but the players don't pick themselves. So you can deflect the criticism from the players about Tabares because he picks them. And the same I would say about Tabares. He can say that he will not throw in the towel, and he will stay there and he will get through this. And you can criticize him for this, and I understand this. I do it as well, but it's not his job to sack himself. So then you should deflect the blame to the AUF, the Uruguayan Football Association again, because they are the ones that have to make the decision. Yeah. Okay. I have to go to a lot of comments now. I keep talking too much. I want to read your comments more. Uh, Craig says not watching Uruguay in World Cup is painful. Yeah, that will be really painful, and I cannot even imagine this feeling. So I don't know. I just hope we will qualify, and I don't even care how we are going to qualify. Honestly. Um, okay. Burn Roddy says the problem is that to end Tabares' contract, AUF would have to pay $6 million. You mean dollars as in US dollars, or I don't really believe this. You know what? You know why? Because the world, the after qualifiers, his contract runs out, or after World Cup. So in like a year, his contract runs out. So I'm aware that he makes good money, but he doesn't make that much money on a year. So if you sack him now, you have to pay him the remainder of his contract, but that's not $6 million. I don't believe this. Obviously, they will have to pay an amount of money. Yeah, for sure they will. But that's the thing again. You have to do what is best for the team, for the country, for the Uruguay. You don't have to do what is best for your pockets, and that is the problem. Um, okay. Joaquin Sneeberger says all they say is he brought us to the semifinals in 2010. Yeah, I mean that is just true. You will hear this complete ridiculous defenses talking about a tournament that was 11 years ago. 11 years ago. I mean, I was like, what was I? I was 14 years of age. Never had a wank. Probably did, but you get what I'm saying. It's 11 years ago. Come on, that's just not comparable these times. Um, okay. Migusta Gaming says Cavani. Also, you gotta go back and watch last month. What the fuck was that? Um, yeah, I'm not sure what you mean there, but okay. Oh, you mean like he's not there, and doesn't seem like we will see him again with the Man United situation. Well, I'm absolutely sure that Cavani will be there in March, because or in January the next games are, because he's a player who absolutely give everything for this team. But it was a shame that he was not here today or on against Argentina. But this is just one small problem, and there's a much bigger problem which has been going on for a long time. Kent Johnson, good to see you here, man. It's a nightmare, and no one can wake up. No, that is the truth. And you know what? Then the thing is as well, the nightmare, like you say, you cannot wake up. It's like it's going on and on and on, and there seems to be no end to it. Um, Guillermo M says, please don't become warriors of another country. No, believe me, I will never do that. There was not the funny, but the question for someone on Twitter, because obviously I'm not, like probably many of you are aware, I'm not Uruguay myself, but I follow this country and the national team for quite a lot of years right now, and I consider it the country I love and I follow. I mean, the Netherlands, the country I'm living right now, play today for World Cup qualification. To be honest, I just saw a message in a WhatsApp group from my friends that they did qualify, but I'm not aware. I don't really bother. I don't really care. All I care about is Uruguay. So someone on Twitter asked to me, "Are you not a little bit? Well, are you not looking back at the moment that you started to follow Uruguay and think, well, maybe I should have followed Germany or France?" And I said to him, "Well, I understand what you're saying, because it would really would really help me from, well, basically keep me away from a lot of pain and a lot of frustration. But I will support Uruguay even if if we finish 10th every time in a qualifying campaign. So, but I understand it's really painful. Um, Migusta Gaming says Coates had his chance and let Nema score between his legs. For that and his pace, I can't agree with him anymore. Well, I don't agree with that at all because, and I mean, Coates had like one game, 2 games, 3 games in the last 2 years while he has been at a great level. He came on against Paraguay. I remember the second half, he was fantastic. He came on, he played against Argentina and Brazil. He was put on in a team that was completely disjointed, disorganized, and no plan, no identity. And then we expect him to be this saving grace, this the hero that saves us. You cannot expect this. And also, the point I would make is how can you give a conclusion on Coates after 2 or 3 games, but you keep playing Godin and Caceres, players like this, all these games, and you keep excusing. I'm not talking about you personally, but more about Tavares. You keep excusing them on bad performances, but you have your conclusion after 1 or 2 games that Coates did not play well. That don't make sense. Coates should be a starter ahead of Godin. Godin did well in this international break, but I'm talking about the overall picture of the last 2 or 3 years. So Coates should be there, and he was injured in this international break. So in the context of today and of the last few days, doesn't really have any relevance. But I just want to make the point that Coates should be playing honestly ahead of Godin. Nicolas Centurion says the media in Uruguay is controlled by one company. The journalists related to this company are puppets, and they are mob-like with the ones that go against them. Yeah, I mean, it certainly is not anything objective. That's for sure. You're talking about football media. Yeah, I mean, it's not objective, and all these the Uruguay media are really concerned, or are really they really make an effort to play. How do you say, to keep in the good books of the Uruguayan Football Association and of the management staff, because they don't want to lose these ties. Best Uruguayan journalist is Mario Bardanca. I don't know about him, but I will certainly check him out. Burn Rodi says this. Thank you for this comment. Um, Peru is a Peru won 2-1. So Uruguay officially down to 7th place. That's the way it is. Fi says hi. This is Fi. It's a bit late for me. Okay, good to have you here. So I came to check on you. Very nice to have you here, and the same goes for everybody who's watching. Thank you for being here, even though it's been a really hard game and a really hard night or day wherever you live. Um, okay, Migusta Gaming says he should resign anyway. Yeah, very true. That's the truth, in my opinion. Jamie Drummer just saw the result. Oh my God, sack him immediately. He shouldn't even be allowed to press conference. Yeah. Contact 20 says just here to say 4 losses in a row is shocking. It is. I mean, it is, and I'm struggling to add anything to what we have just discussed, because should be the end. That's the way it is. It should be the end. Today there should be no tomorrow, basically. Because if there is a tomorrow, I'm sure there will be a way of of spinning it, of making it something. Okay, we go again next time. There will be a way of spinning this as something that is again. And Tavares was also talking about it in his press conference. He's saying about we had 3 consecutive World Cup qualifications, and in every qualification process, we had bad moments, we had difficult moments, and we know how to experience and we know how to face this. And you know what? Maybe they will qualify, and maybe then they will have their revenge. Tavares will have his revenge, but that even if we qualify from this situation, damage that has been done to the Uruguay national team and the image it has at this moment is already really obvious. I'm embarrassed, and I think a lot of you are as well. Nicolas Hernandez Vidal says, "Do you honestly think he'll be sacked?" You know what? I don't know, because I don't. I believe he will be sacked, or I don't know. I honestly don't know. But the thing is that I cannot even have a normal opinion on what they will do, because you never know with this board, because they are so incompetent, so out of their depth. Because there are so many moments where Tabares was not doing well, the team was not doing well, and that the decision should have been made that this was over. A new manager, a new cycle, a new era, but they didn't make the decision. So I have no confidence in the Uruguayan Football Association making the decision right now. So I hope it with all my heart, but do I believe it? I don't. I just don't know. I'm completely out of ideas on this subject. Okay. Danny F says Torreira playing box to box is hilarious. He was in a box with Canario and he was like 5'7". I mean, honestly, like you say, and we were talking about it on Twitter. You said it as well, that Torreira was playing as a box to box and Vecino was a holding midfielder. And that's what I'm always talking about. These are just basic decisions of players playing in a position, players playing what deserve to play. And when it goes wrong on this aspect, when it goes wrong with these kind of decisions, the basic decisions, then you have a manager who, I mean, honestly, you have no hope. You do have hope a little bit because you are a fan, but rea- reality just dictates another view. I mean, I don't know how to say it, but it's just, yeah. Ken Johnson says, in the past 5 games, we have gotten 1 point, 1 goal with 11 goals against. And this is nothing to do with the coach. No, it's the player's fault. Probably, I don't know. No, of course, you are right. The coach is the man responsible for every. I'm, I'm a little bit of lost for words right now because it's just, yeah, just come to a point where I really care a lot. But yeah, just honestly. Okay. Marmoto Chico says, do you think Tabers will be fired? Well, the same response I would give as I gave to Nicolas Hernandez Vidal is, I'm not sure. It should be the case, but am I confident this will happen? No, because you know what? I won't be confident. How do you say it? I'm not relying on a person who is colorblind to tell me what color a certain chair is. What color a certain tree is, or a certain whatever is. Because he's not able to spot it. He's not competent enough. He's not capable enough to do this. So I'm not confident in a manager or in a board in a Uruguay Football Association to make the right decision, because they don't know what the right decision is, because they are not competent. They should not be in this job, because they accept failure after failure after failure. And this is a tweet I tweeted out, and you can agree or you can disagree. That's all fine. But and it was a little bit sarcastic, and because I was, well, kind of upset, to be honest, like probably all of us are. But I said, well done to the people who support Uruguay or Tabares as the Uruguay manager still. You accept Uruguay as an insignificant footballing nation that accepts mediocrity, because that's what it's all down to. Because if you still support Uruguay at this moment, or obviously you support Uruguay, but if you still support Uruguay, the Uruguay manager Tabares, and the way, so you accept the results we've had and the failures we've had, then you're basically saying it's okay that we crash out of the Copa America in 4 times before the semifinals. It's okay that we play the football we have right now, while we have players that are stars in Europe and in South America. It's okay to be seventh after 14 games in the qualifiers. By saying that Tavares should still be the manager, then you're accepting this. So basically, you're accepting failure, you're accepting mediocrity. That is what you're accepting. So whenever this kind of people still talk about Uruguay as the big footballing nation, the huge footballing nation historically, which I believe Uruguay is, then they're basically lying to themselves, because while they are believing this is the truth, they also believe that Tavares should still be the manager, and Tavares is the man who in the last 8 years has been the manager for failure after failure after failure. They accept this. They accept this, and that is for me unacceptable. And that is what it's all down to. Um, Nicolas Hernandez Vidal says, I fractured my ankle 4 months ago and I haven't been able to play soccer or football. And today will be my first time playing again since then. Super excited that they can maybe be redeemed a bit. Wow, I hope you really enjoy it. And you know what? Play football and I mean, just think of yourself needing to score the goal that gets Uruguay to Qatar. Honestly, just imagine a good story, a positive story, and you're being the protagonist in it, and just imagine something positive because at the moment there's not a lot of positivity around Uruguay and about football for Uruguay. Leburu says Rodrigo Romano just said that AUF is on the edge of taking the hardest decision in 17 or 18 years. He's blatantly saying that Tabárez decides everything. I have to laugh at journalists like Rodrigo Romano, or he's a commentator, like he was the football commentator obviously for a long time, because these are people who also they never open their mouth and be critical because they are spineless. They also have all these connections with the Uruguay national team and the association. Whenever he tweets something or anybody of this kind of stature, these big journalists, these big time journalists in Uruguay, I just have to laugh because he just talk bullshit all the time and and to get back to the AOF, to the Uruguayan Football Association, um, talking about having to take the hardest decision in 17 or 18 years. You know what? They have made this the hardest decision because it shouldn't be this hard. We shouldn't be in this place. Tabárez should have been sacked years ago. So yeah. Danny F says, I remember Bolivia at home. Tabárez put Arambari as a box to box and made Ugarte play as a holding midfielder. It's actually mind blowing. Yeah, I mean, this. I'm not trying to get into specific cases, but there are a lot of bad decisions. Yeah, it's simply unreal how bad we play. These kind of play, how bad we play. Either these kind of players, sorry, are these kind of players even paying minimum attention to the tactical analysis we see? We can all see there's none. Yet AOF are chickens. This is Burn Roddy. What's a mess? Basically, it's a mess. I don't know what to say anymore about it. It's a mess. Just a complete failure, embarrassment, humiliation, whatever you want to call it. It's all that is negative. That is Uruguay, the national team at this moment. Fitch, Vincent says, "Yo, bro, we are out. I'm done. We just lost 3-0 to Bolivia, man." Yeah, I mean, what can I add? It's just embarrassing. Cáceres at left back was just cutting into shoot, and we were basically playing a 2-2-6 formation at the end. Yeah, chasing something, but that's the thing with Uruguay, and it's always has been. It's just reacting. It's not. We're not proactive. We're not proactive. It's reacting. It's passive, waiting something to happen, waiting a little bit of individual brilliance to bail out this team, to bail out Tabárez. That's the way it is. It's always been like this on the Tabárez. Even when Tabárez and Uruguay were doing well, it was never a team that was proactive, that was playing on the front foot. And you know what? In the starting years of the Uruguay national team, this was okay because we didn't have a midfield that could control a game, have the most of the possession, make things happen. But at this moment, for the last 5 years, Uruguay have the players coming up with all these qualities, and we have progressed nothing. We have regressed. Ken Johnson says, I have to go. Thanks for being here, David. It helps to hear someone articulate the frustration. Well, sometimes I don't really articulate very well. That's a problem, but I do my best. One last thing. We need to accept now that our only real chance at qualification is with 5th place. Yeah, and by the way, thanks for being here, Kent. Thanks a lot. And you make a good point, because even though the situation as it is right now is really bad, when you look at Peru, when you look at Chile, which are our competition for the 5th place, because Ecuador and Colombia, I think they will qualify certainly. So, and with the result today, I think Colombia will finish ahead of Uruguay, and Ecuador for sure will. So we basically fight Bolivia, Peru, and Chile for this last spot, this last playoff spot. And I mean, Peru, although they did really well in the Copa of 2019, Peru have regressed as well. Not the team they were. Chile, certainly not the team they were. And they have a really tough fixtures. The remaining fixtures of Chile are really tough. Away to Argentina, away to Bolivia, away to Brazil. and Bolivia. Well, they can be there. They can be there. You never know. They have 2 home games, which for them they could easily be 6 points, and then they have to scrap some points at the end. So it's gonna be, I don't know. It's gonna be hard. Shouldn't be hard, but it's gonna be. Yeah. Okay. Uh, Tertuliano Afonso says, how many points will be needed for fifth place in your opinion? Uruguay has 4 games left. Possible 12 points on the table. What's it gonna take? So Uruguay at this moment has 16 points. I think historically, like around this 25-point mark is needed most of the time. 24 sometimes, 23 sometimes, but 24, 25 points is like this is the target. I think maybe 24. So Uruguay, if they want to reach this, they have to win 3 games. Yeah, they have to win 3 games. Win their home games and win 1 away game. And to be honest, this should be the case. And even then, we are not sure. But the only positive thing right now is that because Argentina and Brazil are so dominant in qualifying, this qualifying campaign, the point total of the teams below will be a little bit lower because normally everybody picks points from everybody, and now it's like 2 teams are running away. So the point total of the teams below will be a little bit lower as well. But ideally, I think we should win 3 games of the last 4 games at least, and then we will be. I think we will be in the maybe in the playoff spot, maybe in direct qualification, but we will be there. Yeah. Um, Burn Roddy says realistically, I cannot speak anymore. I mean, I'm going on for like over an hour. Gonna read his final comments and then I'm going to go off. And also, please, if you want, like the video. Almost at 20 likes will be amazing if we can reach this. Burn Roddy says realistically, we can still turn this thing around, but we must remove TABÁREZ and win all of the remaining games. Yeah, that's true. I'm not sure if I already read that comment out. If I did, I'm sorry. But yeah, obviously this has to be the intention, and we have to remove TABÁREZ tonight. Colombia hasn't scored a goal in 5 games, and they are fifth. Jorge Capero says this. Well, that's the thing, and that's the only thing why Uruguay is still in this, because Uruguay are not doing well, but a lot of teams besides us are not doing well either. So we're still in with a chance, but it's gonna be hard. We play Chile and Peru, so win that and win Paraguay. Well, Chile away is the last. That's the thing. Chile away in Santiago is the last game of the qualifiers for Uruguay. That could be the decisive game, and that will be honestly the most nerve-wracking game like ever. Like in a long time. For Uruguay to play well, they need to remove people like TABÁREZ, Godin, Cáceres, Vecino, Brian, and select people in form. That's that's the thing. You have to pick people who are in form, are at a good level. We don't do this, and that's one of the big problems, along with many other problems. Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna end the stream here. Want to thank all of you for being here. Okay, one last question because I just saw it pop up. What do you think is the ideal 11 for Uruguay? Maxwell Manta says this. So let me have a quick think. If everybody is fit, I would pick Martin Campagna at this moment ahead of Muslera. Maybe Sergio Rochette if he's fit. I would play at left back Alfonso Espino. I would play Arajo or Coates, one of these two. Jimenez, Damian Suarez. I would play Lucas Torreira as the holding midfielder. I will play Bentancur on the left midfield, like left central midfield. Valverde right central midfield. Darwin from the left. Well, okay. Maybe Daras Queta from the number 10. Nicolas de la Cruz. One of these two. Daras Queta, Nicolas de la Cruz. The number 10 position. Creative midfielder. And then I would play Darwin as one of the strikers, who is really mobile, can drift to the left, to the wings, create also, and is really quick, really strong. And I would play Suarez or Cavani, one of these two, not both, at the other number 9 position. This will be my team. And it's just on the top of my head, so maybe I could change something if I think more about it, but this is the team I would go for in an ideal world. But okay, I want to thank you all for being here. I mean, we got to talk about the problems that we are living right now, the situation which is not good. But I'm really grateful for everybody who's being here. Please, if you want, subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate it, and like the video as well. I would really appreciate it as well. And you know what? In a month's time or 2 months' time, in January and at the start of February, we will be again playing for the for a ticket to Qatar basically. And although the reality is really bad, we always have to keep hope, like people have said in the chat, and we can still make it to Qatar. And that's the thing. We can still make it to Qatar, and we should be focused on, how do you say it, focused on doing this and sacking Oscar Tabares, because he's not the right man to get us there. He's not. He's just not. We can probably qualify even while he's here, but it's not working. It's over. It's done. Tabares should not be the manager tonight. Should not be the manager tomorrow. But we will see if this happens. In the meanwhile, I will keep you updated on Twitter. If you want to follow Uruguay Heroes, probably you are following because you probably come from Twitter. But if you're not, please follow it. Yeah, I hope you have a good rest of your day, of your night. Enjoy it. Do something else. Get some distraction. Watch a nice movie. I don't know. Do something that's positive, and then we will live to fight another day. Okay. Bye bye.